Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Amy, and in today's video I am going to show you guys how to perfectly contour and highlight, especially for my chocolate girls. You know we struggle getting the right products, the right tones, and just about almost everything. We struggle trying to get that foundation color right. We struggle trying to get the perfect concealer, contour, highlight, and even bronzers. And you guys, I am going to show you guys some of my favorite products to use. I said some of, okay? Some of my favorite products to use because I do have a lot of favorites. But as time goes, you guys would definitely find out what some of my favorite products are. We're gonna try them together, okay? But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. But before we do that, you guys know the drill. Okay, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get a notification every single time I upload. Okay, so if you want to know how I was able to slay, okay, this look and just perfectly highlight and contour like a pro, go ahead and keep on watching. Okay guys, so let's go ahead and get started. So I have already put my skincare on. I did my eyeshadow just so we can just save time. But I'm going to use my Milk Hydrate Grip Primer. And I'm just going to apply this. Oh, my hands are so cold. I'll apply this all over my face, guys. Okay. I don't like to walk my primer too much because then you kind of defeat the purpose. You just want it to kind of have like a real nice layer on the skin. You know, this primer is a bit tacky, so you don't want to work it too hard. Okay. Normally you can just concentrate it on the areas that you need it, but I just like to apply it everywhere. You don't have to, but I do. Okay, so next step, I'm going to just take my foundation. I'm going to use my favorite trusted Dior Backstage foundation. And I'm going to apply this all over my face. Quick tip, when you use this foundation, shake very well, but before you open it, just kind of cap it down or else it explodes because it has a ton of product in this bottle. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and just apply this all over my face. I just like to use it and just drop just like so. Okay. This foundation is very, very lightweight. You can tell it's like so runny. I am not a big fan of heavy foundations. I prefer my foundation to be lightweight, and for some reason I like a more fuller coverage concealer versus my foundation. Okay, I'm just gonna use my beauty blender and just press it into the skin. And as you can see, this foundation matches me like pretty well. Like, this is like one of my best matching foundations. It's like it has the perfect amount of red and neutral undertone. It looks kind of dark on the monitor, but I promise, like in person, it looks perfect. And I'd rather my foundation be dark because I'm going to conceal anyways. But it does look it just looks pretty perfect in person. Okay. Okay, so that's my base. Okay, so to perfectly highlight and contour, you need a perfect tone of concealer for your skin tone. So just like you need to find your undertone for your foundation, you also need to find the perfect undertone for your concealer. So what I like to do is, if you say go like 2 shades lighter, somebody can just go pick up 2 shades lighter of their foundation, of their concealer, based on what their foundation is, but not necessarily getting the right undertone. So what I like to do is to actually use a concealer that is lighter than me. It could be 2 shades, 3 shades, however much you want it, but just make sure that the undertone falls onto your undertone. So I can't be a neutral undertone and then use like a 2 shade lighter concealer and then that shade actually falls on a warm tone. I hope I'm making sense, okay? So I'm using the number 8 concealer from Juvias Place palette. Juvia's Place. Okay, why am I saying the palette? It's not a palette. What I like to do is just apply my concealer right underneath my eye area and just bring it out down to the nose area. What you want to do is actually take your concealer and actually just draw a line right there, because this is also going to help cinch your nose in. Okay, this concealer is pretty watery, so which is kind of nice because it doesn't dry super fast. Okay, just like that. And now I'm just going to just make sure like you are cinched very well. Okay, just like so. Can you see that? Okay, so now I am just going to also apply it on my forehead. I have a big ass forehead, excuse my French. So what I do is I just kind of concentrate right here in like a little V area, like a little V point, okay? And I'm just going to also just drag it very gently just down the bridge of my nose. Okay, so I'm just gonna take some of that concealer, also apply it on underneath my, oh, that's a lot, okay? It's like right there and underneath my chin area, okay? So this is how you want your concealer to look. Basically a little crazy, but not too crazy. Let's start blending from my chin, just so I give enough time for the under eyes to kind of set more, because I feel like you get more coverage when you do that, okay? Key is when you're blending out your concealer, don't drag out. You want to make sure you press in just in the right areas. And I'll show you how to like blend everything and make everything look perfect, okay? Because once you start pushing your hand out, what happens is you are just going to have like a face full of like white concealer, and that's not what we want, okay? So I'm just going to just make sure you kind of buff out. Like with on my forehead, I'm just buffing out more on the outside, as you can tell, versus like just dipping straight up in the center of my face. My hands look so ashy, damn. I should have put some lotion on, but oh well. Okay, so just concentrate it exactly in that area without like going too much outside of the area. Okay, okay, so I'm just also going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm just blending the outside, like the outer perimeters of the concealer without touching the inner corners of the concealer, and then bring it up high like that. Okay, like I said, just make sure you are not pushing the product out. Just make sure you're just like pressing the product down, so that way you just don't have like a huge ashy face of concealer. Okay, you see that? How's that looking? Okay, so I'm just now gonna blend inside my eye area, and I'm just concentrating the product right there. Okay, same thing. Okay, so I'm gonna just chip my beauty blender sponge just like that, so that way I can easily just blend where my contour line is. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just chip it in very lightly and just softly just blend it. Don't push too hard, because when you push too hard, you're just going to like blend the two the nose contour, the nose highlight, and also your concealer like together. Am I making sense? Yeah, don't do that. Just chip it down and just don't press too hard. Just lightly press on it, and just like so. And now I'm just also going to make sure that I blend this one, which is my nose highlight. Okay, same thing. Don't push too hard. Just do it just with very light pushing motion, because you just don't want to mix those two, like I said. Okay, I'm gonna take my Juvias Place contour stick, and this is just like, I think it's a foundation stick, but I just use it to contour. And I'm just going to, so when you contour, what you want to do is you want to just you can actually use the tip of your ear right here as your guideline. If you go too low, it kind of drops your face down and it's just not flattering. So you want your contour to be a bit high up. Okay, so like you could see, like I'm gonna use this as my guideline so you guys can see what I'm saying. Okay, just go ahead and bring it inwards like that. Okay, So that way it can, because I have a bit more of a longer face, so I just kind of want to make sure that my face looks more lifted, okay? If I had more of a round face, then I can drop down a bit more, okay? I'm going to do the same thing right here, okay? Okay, and I'm also going to just put it around my forehead area because I have a big ass forehead, like I said. So trying to get my forehead a lot slimmer. I don't mind it, okay? Just FYI, I'm very content with my forehead, but you know, I just have to name it because just also bring your contour just right underneath the cheekbone right here. Okay, and then underneath, not your cheekbone, just kind of draw it like underneath the jawline, and then also just right underneath the chin right here, just so like it gives you like that perfect like chisel look. Okay, guys, bear with me, okay? I kind of have to get back into the hang of speaking, and it's just not coming. I am not going to contour my nose. I'll show you guys how to perfectly contour your nose using a cream contour. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my e.l.f. brush, and this is just drugstore brush, and I think it's just a complexion brush. It's a foundation buffing brush. It's very compact and dense, and I bet it's probably like $6 or so. And I'm just gently just pressing my contour, okay, into my concealer. Okay. Just be very gentle, don't rush it. Like, blending is key, y'all. Okay? Just blend it into that concealer so that way it kind of gives that more of like a blended look. We're even gonna blend it even more, but I just want to make sure that, you know, everything gonna get seamless first. Okay. See that? Just make sure when you blend the contour, just make sure that you don't blend it too much into the highlight. Just be very gentle, just push very lightly so that way your contour and your highlight still mesh together without like just kind of being one muddy ashy mess. You can kind of tell that my face is already having a bit more shape. We're getting there, right? Okay. My beauty blender sponge, I'm going to use the bottom part which has more foundation, okay, and I'm just going to take it and then buff out those edges, okay. What I like to do is to actually take a foundation that's just a tiny bit lighter than me, almost my skin color. I'm just going to take a little bit of that on my beauty blender sponge, and what I do is I take it and blend the edges where the contour and the highlight with, okay, just to make it more seamless, okay. So look. Okay, so just like this, just right where they made. This is almost like no product on this sponge, but it just kind of make the blending a lot more seamless. This is actually really awesome if you are a brown skin girl, because it helps you not to just have like an unblended makeup. I mean, no one wants an unblended makeup, but this definitely is a plus. Whatever concealer is left on my sponge, I'm just going to take it and just kind of brighten underneath my contour line right there. I don't like to put concealer there, especially for women of color. I feel like sometimes it could just be too harsh, especially when you take pictures, you can just see that like straight line right there. So you just want to make sure that you don't put too much product right there. So I'm just using the part that has my concealer, the part that has my foundation, and just kind of keep going back and forward, just so it kind of gives you that nice contour, but it's not like a harsh line. So what I'm going to do next is just take a small brush, use the brush that has my contour product, and just kind of buff that brush into the brush that has the contour, because I don't want it to be too harsh. Just take that and then just go ahead and just blend in that contour. Okay. So you see, I'm not putting any contour product right there. I'm just using whatever was left on my brush and then buff it to the brows. Can you see how soft that looks? Okay. Buff it into the brows just like so. Okay. Bring it down. Okay. Your under eyes are going to crease regardless, especially if you don't set them. So just make sure that you push the product back onto your under eyes before you start setting your powder. Am I making sense? Are you with me? Are you following? I hope so. I'm going to use this Too Faced Born This Way powder. You guys can see I love this powder so much. Okay, and I'm going to use this, and this is in the shade Chai. But like I said, I'll list all the products down in the description bar. I'm going to use this product, and I'm going to use a setting a brush, and then just tap and push the product down onto my highlighted areas. Okay. I like to do this first because what happened is with women of color, especially like if you're more of a deeper set, if you just go straight to the loose powder, sometimes it could be a bit ashy or it could be a bit overdone. Okay, and even on my lighter skin clients, sometimes I use the same technique just to have that more flawless look. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna just do that also all over the areas that I highlighted with my concealer. Next step, I'm going to use my trusted Huda Beauty powder, loose powder, and this is in the shade Cinnamon. And I'm just going to take that on the cap. Use a dry beauty blender sponge. Y'all, she cannot talk for nothing. Okay, I'm gonna take that and push it on my hand. Okay, just to get the product saturated onto the beauty blender better. And I'm just gonna take that and now push it underneath my eye area. And what this is going to do is to actually just make sure that I am a bit more highlighted, but I'm not over highlighted. So the powder I set before is also going to act as a base. So when I put a lighter powder, it's not going to cling onto my concealer, okay? So I'm going to also just take my sponge, add a bit more product, and I'm just going to take it and set around the nose area. Remember the same thing that I did with the concealer, that's the same thing I'm doing with the powder. But you can tell I put more around the nose because I want my nose contour to be a bit more precise, okay, but not too much. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just take a brush and just buff out that excess powder on my face, just like so, and you can see it just looks very nice and seamless. Okay, I'm just going to dust this off. I'm not going to deeply contour my nose like I told you guys. I'm just going to use a bronzer on it just a little bit, just to kind of give it a little bit of lift. Okay, I'm actually just going to lift that line in the center of the nose just so I can get a bit more highlighted effect on my nose area. Okay. So next, I am just going to take my Mented bronzer, and guys, I am so happy. Finally, somebody got it right. They got a bronzer for me. They wear a bronzer for me, you know? Not everybody gets it right. Sometimes when I see these bronzers, and I'm like, who is that for? Because, honey, clearly that is not for me. Okay, so I'm going to just bring some warmth back to the face because as you can tell, I'm a bit highlighted. So let's give us some chocolate. Let's bring that chocolate glow back. Okay, and like contour, I'm not going to be precise. I'm just going to just take this and just buff it onto my cheekbones and just around the perimeters of my face. So just think about a number 3. So this is what we're doing. Okay, that's what we're doing. Okay. Can somebody send a note to Mented for me and tell them I say, go, you got it, okay? Because these brands be playing sometimes. I'm like, bronzer for black girl where? You mean my highlighting powder? Because that's sure not a bronzer. But honey, look at this. She chocolate. What's up? Yo. Like, you know I'm excited about this damn bronzer. Okay, so same thing, same technique I did with the contour. I am not going to put any bronzer directly onto my nose. I'm going to buff my brush with a small buffing brush, okay? And just go ahead and just lightly just buff that contour out with whatever product I have here on my bronzer. Just bring it to the, what's it called? Bring it up to your nose, up to your eyebrow area, just so it looks nice and blended. See that? Okay. I'm going to take a setting spray, because whenever you put so much powder on your face, you want to make sure you're using a setting spray, and this is just going to help melt all that product. I'm going to use my Morphe Trusted Setting Spray. I'm just going to hold my eye area. Okay, and just spray my face down. Okay, so I am going to now take my all-time favorite highlighter. Are you ready? The Dior Backstage highlighter. I like both of them. I like the brown, I like the one and I like the two. For some reason, I just want them to make this color, like the darkest color, I want them to make it like in like a full-on highlighter, like a whole palette highlighter. Because I'm sick of just using this one color and it runs out. When you put on your highlighter, you want to put it on your cheekbone. You see that? And then buff it out like that. Is it beaming? Am I blinding you yet or not? One thing I realized that whenever I put highlighter, I kind of take away my blush a little bit. So I just like to take my blush brush and just kind of go back on the apples of my cheeks just to kind of give me back my little glow. Okay? So take a little bit and then also just apply that on my, just right above my brow. So if you want to know where to softly highlight, just like right above your brow. And I don't like to put too much product. When I take it, I still like kind of tap the excess off and then just buff it right nicely right there. So that way you don't, it's not overdone. You want it to be there, but like, it's like barely. It's like, I'm like this. You see? That's how you want it. Okay, I'm going to take a little tiny brush, okay, and take some of that and also just highlight the highest point of my nose, just like right there.